Good evening. Welcome to the City of Shelbyville Mayor and City Council study session. It is Tuesday, February the 3rd. It's about 6 p.m. And our agenda, the first item on our agenda tonight is public comments. I'll ask our city recorder if we had anyone sign up for public comments tonight.
Yes, sir, we do. Mr. Glover, if you want to come on up.
Can we sign up too?
Oh, yeah, I know y'all just came in, so you can just go after him and when you come up, just sign in for him, okay?
Good evening.
Mr. Glover, you have 3 minutes for your comment and the time will start when you start to speak.
Okay. I'd like to hand these out for anybody that doesn't have one.
Yeah.
I'll get them.
We've got them in our packet, I think. Yeah.
That's also included.
I'll just go get back down. Thank you. You want to go ahead and start talking? I'm running.
Go right
Good afternoon, everybody. You can see on this map, this is the Patterson subdivision that was developed back in or actually created back in 1944. Currently, it's been proposed to be rezoned for R3. I'd like to ask that y'all consider denying that request. I live directly in front of this development or this property. There's not a single duplex apartment anywhere on Jackson Street that faces Jackson Street. Everything's single family home. I actually happen to be the very first one. You know, all of this property is in a flood zone. You know, I don't know how conducive that is to building. I know there's things that can be done, but, you know, I just don't really know about that. You know, I know all this property was regrouped from individual lots, and see that this original map, lot 10 has been sold off this property, so this is no longer really 14 acres, which is what was actually listed in the planning commission agenda. I don't know that it's been updated, but a gentleman by the name of Jimmy Callahan bought 3.98 acres. So I calculated out the lots 1 through 7, total up to be 9.194 acres. Lots 8 and 9 are where the house sits. It's currently on that property. They're 11.12 acres, if you add those two in. So I think there's a little discrepancy in total amount of acres there. But again, I asked the council to take into consideration the neighborhood, single family homes on that road. I ask that you consider denial of this request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Clark.
Good evening.
Hey, Kate, let them sign in before the first. Yeah, go ahead and sign in. Okay, you have 3 minutes to make your comment, and the timer will start and it's countdown on the television if you need to check. So go ahead and get ready.
All right, we're the Clardies, Courtney and Drew. So we're residents of Bedford County. I'm a local healthcare provider. I've served our community for 13 years. My husband owns and operates a small business here. We are fortunately, we raise our 5 children. We're fortunately in a position to make an investment and we'd like to invest in our community. This is our home. It's always been our home. We were both raised here. We hope that our children stay here. Our interests are definitely, hopefully for the benefit of anything in Shelbyville or Bedford County. But we have proposed and request your support to change this property. It is currently zoned industrial, and West Jackson just simply could not handle an industrial or manufacturing facility on this property. I feel confident that Mr. Glover doesn't want to live across from a manufacturing facility, and as its current zoning, that is what it's, been allocated for. We have tried to follow all the rules. This is new to us. We've never done this before. So we met extensively with the local planning director. He's actually the one who recommended that we try to change this property to R3. He felt that would be the best fit for this property. There's actually a large area of R3 directly across the street and also to the west on West Jackson Street. I'm sorry, West Jackson.
Which is also where he lives. His property is across the street, which is zoned R3.
Is zoned R3.
Also to the west is zoned R3.
But we don't really know why the planning committee voted no. They didn't really give us a reason. I guess they don't have to give a reason. We're not really sure. A couple of them mentioned and expressed some concerns. One was that given the acreage that it could potentially house many more units. We plan to build 8 duplexes. We live here. I have nurses who cannot afford homes in Bedford County. The median family income, I believe I Googled, was around $53,000. The median home price last year was $300,000. We obtained the house and we're using it as a rental property that's already there. And hey, it's been very rewarding. It's been very, to deal with this young family that is renting it. They've been a pleasure to work with. We want to build something that we would feel safe living in. I rented in college. We had to rent a home while we built our property. We live on a farm in Black Creek, and I wish everybody could raise their family on a farm in Black Creek, but they can't. So, but there were no rental options that I would have felt safe living in with my 2 small children at the time in Shelbyville. I mean, it was, it's something we have to think about. So we want to build something safe. We want to build something beautiful. We want to build something, 8 duplexes. We're not looking to build more than that. The back of the property is in a floodway. It would not be ideal to even utilize that. Tyson came and spoke about potential issues with property owners if people lived there. But here's the deal, they wouldn't have individual property owners. They would have one property owner, and that's us. And you can meet our neighbors. We own several properties in this community. We've never had an issue with a neighbor. We have no qualms with Tyson. They also mentioned a buffer. There's a beautiful 90-foot tree line and creek that separates our property from Tyson. So you can see these. It's from our property and also from their parking lot. You wouldn't be able to see these properties.
And also was addressed about the,
Leave these photos with you. Sorry, I tried to talk fast. Thank you for
Thank
hearing
you,
this out.
folks.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, the next item, do we have anyone else, Lisa?
No, sir, that's all. We don't have anyone else.
Okay. Staff reports is our next item. City Manager, Scott Collins. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, the Downtown Improvement Grant public meeting is next Wednesday, February 11th at 9 a.m. at the Flower Center. Now, we're going around as weather permits and giving flyers to all the people in the downtown zone. But every chance we get to promote it, we will. The second item on the flood pumps, and today's a really good day to talk about flood pumps. We have a targeted bid date of we did have a targeted bid date of January 29th, but due to the complexity of the housing and continuing design efforts to take care of little things that could be big things, building locks, security system, pump control, observation. All of this is taking a little longer. We had a meeting, the Public Works Director and I met with our city engineer yesterday. The design is 90% complete, and we have a targeted bid opening of March 26th. And with that being said, we hope the council will have the bids in front of them at the April 9th meeting, and then get started installing them around mid-May and completed around November. That is barring no other glitches with the design system. And the last thing I want to mention is about a grant opportunity called the Build Grant. That is a federal grant that the acronym stands for Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development. And we have been meeting as a team with our city engineer and asking him what would be the best bang for our buck because you can apply for up to $25 million. And as each and every one of you all know and have, voiced your concerns to me and others about need for infrastructure, this could go a long way in starting to address something.
Absolutely.
So again, we met with the engineer and we had hoped that the flume would qualify for this funding. Because as you all know, the number's been thrown around. If we're going to fix the flume from start to finish, it's going to cost anywhere from 25 to $40 million. Unfortunately, it would be a reach at best, and do not think our chances are good for success. However, there's some other areas in town that is understudied. That we could try to maximize this funding and address 2 up to 3 areas that's in dire need of infrastructure improvements. I'm telling you all this because we're meeting again to try to drill down what we want to present to you. And we would like to have a resolution next Thursday. We are meeting early next week to come to a determination, and we will present that information to you ASAP. But this is a great opportunity, and the funding again is 25 million. And my first question was, well, great, what would be the match? We are designated as a rural area, and also we are in the what is called the poverty level. So chances are 20% of our people are classified as poverty according to federal stats. So chances are the match would be 0. We will drill down and find out more information, but in reviewing the map that the Federal Highway Administration has for this area and the income levels, we were definitely in the zone. So with your permission, we will have that on the agenda as a business item or perhaps a resolution
Resolution to allow you to apply.
to allow us to apply. And just want to give you a update on it.
So are other municipalities open to this particular thing as well? I mean, is everybody going into a
National.
national? Wow.
And it's been funded by billions of dollars. We're talking federal money. So it's a deep pool of money. Mayor, that's my report.
Okay,
Mayor, if I could,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass these on around. These are the, pictures that the Clardy's gave during
Okay.
their, if y'all will look at them and then get them back to me, so I'll have them for the record, and I'll be glad to make you copies and send them out to you before next
Okay.
week's meeting.
all right. The next item, thank you, Scott. The next item is our discussion items, and the first one is our Employee Benefits Review Committee proposal, or is that purpose?
Perfect.
Okay, and who was going to take the lead on that?
Mayor, I can open it. And
Okay.
then hopefully have some of our committee members here speak to it.
Okay,
As you recall, this city council authorized the establishment of a benefits review committee. And the committee's been meeting since September. And things are evolving, and they've been addressing the insurance, health insurance, and then they are now looking into the retirement system. And then recently, a motion came to the floor and was approved to start looking into the pay scale. The pay scale study has not been updated since approximately 2020. However, during that discussion, the motion was made and unanimously approved. But during that discussion, it was brought up, so let's have a discussion with the full council, because I think the phrase was the committee shouldn't get out over its skis, or in the way I say it, let's not outkick our coverage. and have a discussion here. So with that being said, Mayor, I'd like to ask either one of our council members who's serving to please comment.
Mr. Philhouse, you want to start?
I was the one that said that over the skis deal. So, yeah, I thought we established the committee, we were in a haste to do the insurance and possibly the, long-term retirement plan kind of thing. Well, there's been a lot of discussion about a lot of things, and employee wages is one that keeps coming to the forefront. We were going down that rabbit hole as such, and I was the one that said, maybe we ought to discuss this with the council, because eventually we're gonna have to spend some money, shouldn't be a whole lot, to do a compensation study, to update our compensation study. So that's the reason for this stop in here before we go, and all of a sudden y'all get hit with a request to spend, I don't know what it's gonna cost, $20,000-$30,000 to do a compensation study.
Yeah, I saw it in that agenda item. Yeah.
And maybe, the rest of the council doesn't want to do that. So we didn't want to keep meeting on it if that's not gonna be one of our goals of the committee.
Yeah, the next item, depending on how this item went, then the next item, since the committee already did have, the gentleman who did our pay study back in 2020 with Burris and Thompson, came to the committee and kind of went over what would be a new study would entail, or an updated study would entail. And so he did send us a scope of work for the council to, look at and decide if they wanted to go that way or not. And the cost that he quoted on that was $20,160.
Did the 2020, they did this in 2020, and did they at that time adjust the pay scale based on the recommendations?
Yes.
Okay.
They barely started down the path. They were given a list of steps, and I believe they did step 1A and then quit. And I think part of the reason we got into this is we heard a stat at our most recent committee. We haven't shared a report with the whole council yet, but I believe the number was 60 or 70 employees we turned over in the last 12 months, and we're not that big of a staff. So we've got an issue of we're training, particularly our fire and our police department, are training young people to get into those fields. They're spending a lot of money, a lot of time, and then as soon as they get licensed and trained, they're moving somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we need to at least attempt to be competitive with our surrounding communities on pay and benefits. And so we just, as a committee, I think we felt like we're saying benefits, but pay is part of employee benefits, but we wanted the rest of the council to understand when we said benefits, we weren't just talking insurance and retirement, also possibly pay.
Wouldn't that be beneficial though? Because, we somewhat struggled at May and June, budget time with salaries and all of that stuff. That would be very beneficial that you continue to do that.
Yeah, we think wages and labor costs have gone up significantly in the last 5 or 6 years, so we played catch up to have somebody do a real study for us. So it wasn't something I was opposing, it was something that we needed to make sure everybody would
On board
understand
with.
why we wanted to.
Well, I have 2 daughters that are graduating from college in May, my goodness. But, they're looking and they're not looking here for the most part. I mean, because it's not as competitive with everything around. I mean, and it's sad because this is where we grew up. This is where I wanted them to come back to, and there's just nothing. You've got to be competitive with the outside counties around us, or we're not going to continue to grow like we want to grow.
And that is a big turnover for the employee force that we have. We got department heads here tonight. Anybody need to say anything? Police department, fire department, public works, parks and rec? Ben, over the cemetery and any of those folks? Tom?
I'll just say it's really appreciated by, I know my staff, and I probably speak for for other departments too. Just appreciate just to look into it and, you know, give an honest assessment.
Absolutely.
And at least that's effort toward, you know, what we're trying to do, which is keep them here.
We're also looking into trying to get a new, facilities built for the police department and fire department, and get the property bought so that we can start working on that. And, Buck, your public works, I haven't forgot about the shape of those buildings down there.
Just keep me in mind, man.
We need to take care of our folks. We need to retain those folks that get the training, and we want to keep them here in Shelbyville, and we're doing everything we can to help Shelbyville grow and make it a greater place to live for everybody. But, yeah, that turnover is really a big question mark right there. How does everybody feel about the pay study? Everybody feel pretty good about that? Okay. All right. Let's move forward then with number 3, our local tourism grant.
Mayor, I'm sorry, if I could,
Yes.
just 1 second, could I, since I have several members of the, committee here, we are scheduled to have a meeting on Thursday. Of course, this pay study stuff is not gonna be even voted on before that. And the TCRS stuff, I have spoken with him and they are working on it. But the ice storm has caused a pretty good delay. They had several people without electricity for quite a while, and some of them are still not back in the office. So he's saying that that's gonna be another couple of weeks. So I'm asking, should we just go ahead and cancel our Thursday meeting? Because I don't really have anything else to discuss unless y'all do.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll cancel it and then we'll revisit it next week.
And along those lines, folks probably don't realize, but all of the ice that was in Nashville and some of those other areas, there are a lot of folks still without power tonight. I worked for Duck River Electric for almost 32 years, and I remember fighting those ice storms. Bobby did too. And we remember being out there. We really were very fortunate in Shelbyville that the ice did not include us in this situation. It looks like they say, a battle zone down there, but please remember those folks down there. Hopefully the rain will get the ice melted for some of the folks to get back home. Yes.
My other question is, since we got this quote, I guess for this cost of this pay study?
Yes.
Is that gonna be on the agenda then for next week?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
If, unless y'all want to talk about it, it'll be on the agenda as a business item.
We thought we would save money by the guy doing it before. Does that meet our bidding, professional fees, contract?
What's the amount?
$20,160 is his, quoted amount.
I mean, technically, that would just be coming to y'all because it's not in the budget.
We've done that to go through proposals and RFCs or RFQs and all that.
It really falls in the 3 quote category, but I don't know, I need to look back at that.
Yep, because when the committee discussed it, it was a continuation of
Oh, okay.
the old
True,
plan. But
true, because we did not finish that, really,
we need
seriously.
we need you to keep us in line.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't know the exact number at the meeting.
He is calling it a salary study and pay plan update.
Okay.
Yes.
Good on them?
Sure, we're good?
Yes, I think that's.
Okay, thank you.
We'll cross our T's and dot our I's before next week.
All right, folks, let's move to number 3, the local tourism grant, the CMSA extravaganza, and the CMSA Eastern Championship. That's Cowboy Mounted
Shooting Association.
Shooting Association. That will be held at the Celebration Grounds in the Cooper Steel Arena,
Yes.
or out, yeah, Cooper Steel Arena. Go ahead, Scott.
And this will be their fall event. You all may recall that in the last 2 years, the celebration has been able to attract them for a spring event and a fall event. However, The spring event is going back to where it originally was, I believe in somewhere in Mississippi. But the fall event is considered their Super Bowl, for the lack of a better description. It is the championship of the Eastern Seaboard, and they are requesting for the third year running a $7,500 sponsorship.
For both events?
No, there's only one event now.
Okay.
Historically, you gave them 5,000 in the spring and 7,500, and their economic impact is significant. The CEO, Warren Wells, shared with me that the fall event is second only to the celebration in economic impact for our city.
So is this for the CMSA Eastern Championship or the CMSA Extravaganza? Or is it considered both? It's two shows in one?
It's, yes,
Championship.
but it's fall only. It's fall only. In the past, they did the extravaganza in the spring.
I thought you did, yeah.
And the championship in the fall.
Right.
But this year, the championship is the only thing coming to Shelbyville.
Okay, so it is just the championship.
And this is
Yes.
tourism and economic development funds. The economic impact that they're talking about for the city of Shelbyville, of course, all of these events at our celebration grounds are bringing folks to our restaurants, to our hotels and motels that we got. We're trying to get a new hotel built, by the way. And also all of the RV parking, things like that, bring in revenue from hotel motel tax too. So we take and reinvest that in our community so that they can have these shows, so that they can bring those funds into, and it helps all of the private vendors or all of our merchants around town, bringing business to them during these events. Correct?
Yes, sir. The economic impact on this particular event is estimated, projected to be $1.4 million.
We gave them how much for both of
For both of them, we gave them 12.5.
Okay.
But they're requesting 7,500 for the fall event. Yes,
How many days is it?
8. Oh, I wanted to say 8.
It is from September the 11th to the 19th.
Right. Any other questions?
It just seems a little early for the fall event. Did we fund the fall event this early last year? Did we do it this time because they had the spring one last time?
The association are accustomed to submitting this during this time. So technically, the fall will come out of the 27 budget. And if you all want to delay a little bit, we've got plenty of time.
Right, right.
Because again, I stress, there is no spring event this year.
So we could vote on it though this month, and you wouldn't fund it until next year's budget, of course.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good question. Anyone else? All right, let's move on to number 4, which is a local tourism grant. Again, our tourism and economic funds come from hotel motel taxes that we take in the city of Shelbyville, and we reinvest those for these different events so that people can have these things to go to and participate in. That number 4 local tourism grant is for the community clinic of Shelbyville and Bedford County. They're having a gala, and these folks provide dental services and health services for those that are underprivileged. Am I correct? And Scott, do you want to tell us about that, or we got someone else?
Well, this is a gala. This is a major event. The city council did fund it last year as a sponsorship. It is held at Humble Barry, and this year it's celebrating the 140th anniversary gala. And they are requesting $5,000.
Question,
Yes, sir.
on the financial, it says the potential profit of this thing is 57.5. 50% of it goes to the dental and Harry school.
Right.
Where's the rest of it going? Yeah, yeah. I'd like to know
I think
where that other
50% of it goes to Meharry and 50% of it goes to our local clinic, am I correct?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's each person gets
Does
28,000.
that sound correct?
They split it?
50% went to Meharry and then 50% went to our local community clinic to provide dental and, is that correct?
It don't
Does
say
anybody-
that. It says, it don't say that.
We can, if council desires, we can follow up with this
Get a little more
and
clarity.
get
Yes.
clarity before
Yeah.
Thursday.
Right, yeah. Okay, good question. All right, anybody else have any questions?
I think the dental clinic is great. I think it's really good for our city and for the citizens who can't do it. I really think we need to look at this. The nonprofit should be nonprofit.
Right.
I'd like to know where those 50% goes to.
Okay. Any other comments or questions before we move on?
We're dipping into our hotel motel, monies again, so at some point, if we can get another estimated figure, please make it.
Well, the local support grants, we budgeted 40,000 and we've spent 17,000 so far this year. So we're good right now.
So these items on this agenda.
I would have to subtract them off, so that would be 12,500 off, so. I'm not too good in math. Probably got 10 or 15,000 left.
And all period total?
After we do, if we.
Until June 30.
Well, not the 7,500 because that's next year's budget.
Yeah.
So I retract them.
Right.
We'll have about 18,000 left after.
This year.
How
much we start?
We're
Just over like 200,000.
Oh, no, that's just one line.
Oh,
The one line.
That's not the hotel motel fund, that's just.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just what you budgeted on here.
Good question. Anyone else? All right, let's move to the airport. Where's our airport guy?
There's
Paul at tonight. See out flying?
Work guy.
No, I met with Paul, for probably an hour yesterday, and, y'all bear with me a minute, there's a little bit of groundwork to lay here. There are 3 airport projects that have to be bid out and have to be under contract by June 30th. This is that, $6 million federal grant that the
Right.
airport received, 9/10. These projects have been in the airport's long-range plan for many years, but tonight's focus is just one of those projects, being the terminal renovation that includes ADA remodel for the entire terminal, adding elevator to make the second floor accessible with upstairs accessible restroom for public meeting space and classrooms. Paul wanted me to also reiterate that for our 10% of that 90/10 grant, there's another state grant to cover that 10%. So the net effect is all the entire project, the hope is to be covered by 2 grants.
That's good. Okay.
In 2020, we contracted with Davis Stokes Collaborative for design and construction administrative services for this said terminal renovation. Like I said, this has been in the long-range plan for the airport for years. So, we were applying for another grant at that time that we didn't receive. So it kind of went on hold for a while because we didn't get it. And then COVID happened, of course. But the January 2020 minutes where we went into contract with Davis Stokes read that you all approved, authorized the agreement with the architect, Davis Stokes, for the purposed fee of 8% of construction costs plus reimbursable expenses. You didn't, or the council at the time didn't approve a dollar amount. They approved the percentage of construction.
Okay.
So it passed unanimously. And I do believe it was voted on in that manner because they knew this could possibly be in the future. So anyway, we made one payment to Davis Stokes, and we do have preliminary architectural drawings from them. COVID happened, prices skyrocketed, and we didn't, like I said, we didn't receive that original grant that was in play at that time. So this project remained on the airport's future plan, but it, of course, lay dormant for a few years. Davis Stokes knew that we didn't get the original grant, so they put the project on hold. And like I said, they only billed us one time. 2019 terminal renovation planning costs were estimated at $300,000, 8% being $24,000. 2026 estimates are in the neighborhood of 1.5 million. And 8% of that is 120,000. All still covered by grants, you know. So anyway, the increase in construction costs from 2019, which was when the $300,000 figure was acquired, to 2026 makes the professional services to be paid to Davis Stokes at 8%, approved in January 2020, in your range now, because back then 3% was 24,000. And even that time, I think our bid threshold was 15, so that's why it came to you in 2020. But I'm only comfortable with, you all approving this at this point, since we're upwards of 100,000. Now, with all that said, our ask, of course, is for this to be on your agenda to renew the existing contract with DSC. And we've been in conversations with them 2 or 3 times now, Paul and I, and they will credit the city the one payment that we made them off of this 120, which we made one payment of $4,890, and that would make the net cost to them 115 plus a little. And of course, this is estimates. We don't have any formal construction documents, of course. We've got to let this bid is where we're at. Timeline is tight with the June 30th, for the federal grants. Garver, our airport engineers, have reviewed the 2020 architectural drawings and are making recommendations for change updates currently with Davis Stokes. And to stay with Davis Stokes would be very helpful for continuity in the letting of this construction project in February or March, because we've got 2 more to follow it in March and April. So we're down to the wire on getting these projects done. All covered by grants. Paul wanted to be sure y'all knew that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the long story short, I hope. Do you have any questions? I've got Paul on speed dial.
I hope you're charging him for.
I know, right?
I'm on the airport committee, and at the last meeting, whenever our last meeting was, we've got 6 hangar lots that are coming, and they're already curl rolled in there. The other day, wanted to buy all 6 of them at one time, and that wouldn't. I don't think it'd been approved, but that's something. There's some money coming. There's some other.
They're very busy.
There's some things coming. We got to get all the stuff in line, but they got 6 new spots for hangars coming.
This is kind of like you mentioned a while ago about the professional services with the salary study. COVID did a lot of things. A lot of things got put on hold, and we're basically just renewing, updating a 2020 agreement.
So is that why 3 projects to be bid by June 30th? Is that why they got stacked up like that?
I don't really know altogether why. I do have Paul on speed dial. But, you know,
The
Our-
meeting just came up last year.
yes,
Yeah, the sixth
exactly.
meeting just came up.
That one just
Yeah.
is pretty new.
And it's good news that, of course, we've gotten a federal grant, Congressman Desjardins helped us with that, and then $6 million, and we're gonna have to come up with 600,000. Now we got a grant to cover that, to upgrade our airport, and that building out there, I don't know how old it is. Probably back in the sixties. Yeah, so it's a great thing, for our airport to upgrade it. Thank you so much, Lori. Any questions for Lori before she sits down? All right, thank you so much. All right, old business ordinances, public hearing and second reading, we don't have any tonight. Our new business ordinances, first reading, an ordinance of the city of Shelbyville City Council to amend the Shelbyville zoning map by approving the rezoning of approximately 14 plus or minus acres known as Patterson Addition Combination, owned by Michael Drew and Courtney Clardy, addressed at 933 West Jackson Street and identified in Bedford County, Tennessee, tax records as tax map 088, parcel 62, attached as Exhibit A and Exhibit B, recorded plat from Industrial I, that's I1 Light Industrial, to Residential 3, Medium Density Residential, and repealing any ordinance or portion of ordinance in conflict therewith. We've heard from some public comments tonight. The Planning Commission had voted on this. I think they gave us an unfavorable recommendation. Do I have a motion to amend that zoning map for that piece of property? Yeah. Tom,
Yes, sir.
you want to talk?
No, well, you know, I never know. It's not an option for me.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
And I understand the applicant's consternation about the process. And rezonings are always, or can tend to be controversial. Ultimately, it is up to the city council to decide what is changed in the map. Oh, thanks. This received a unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on their 1/22/2026. As you can see from that, this is 933 West Jackson Street. I don't have my advance, or I've got Cade for that today, but, no, stay ahead. It's approximately 14 acres, currently zoned I1. And from the research that we provided in our staff report, that was also provided to, well, let me back up a little bit. So typically, whenever there's controversy, when people are opposed to it, like Tyson's as well as Mr. Glover, I'll provide the staff report, which was done a couple days before the meeting. And that was provided to Mr. Clardy as well as his representatives. I don't know if they were representing him at the time, but it was provided to St. John Engineering as well as Northcutt. And the reason why I do that, because I don't think anybody, I think there's probably complaints that my reports are too long, but they are detailed in their analysis. And in every application, there's always going to be barriers to approve. And within this application, there were potential barriers to it. So, Kate, if you could advance to, let's see, it'll be the one that, page 9, which shows the evaluation or the way that we evaluate. There you go. One of the, I guess in our strategic plan from several years ago, the objective was to reduce the bias in our decision making. And so here, even though this is not codified within our code, I've been using as a basis for it. And this is not, this is not something I made up. This is something that's been used in other locations as well. But we rely on, I'm not going to go through all of it, but there's several items in here that I wanted to highlight about this property. This property is in our future land use map as mixed residential, which does permit 1 R2 R3 as well as residential or mixed PUDs. So this property is consistent with it. But that's not the only standard that we use for any basis for decision. The other ones is whether the type of use is consistent or conforms to our zoning ordinance, which the duplex development that the owners are proposing does meet the zoning ordinance as a duplex. R3 does support duplex. The other items is where you start getting into potential barriers, and one of them is the compatibility with the underlying zoning district and land use to avoid, actually, that one's not applicable in this case, but whether or not it's compatible with the neighborhood development. And so in this case, and then let's see, Cade, if you can go to, I think it's slide, oh, here you go, I'll tell you to advance and then that's where the future land, right, that if you can go one couple forward, there you go. So this area, you can see, has been since well before 1987. Even though the original, back in 1949, it looked like it had been prepped for residential development. And you see the number of parcels that were combined together to create one I-1. But sometime before, on or before 1987, it was rezoned to I-1. I suspect that it was probably much earlier because of Tyson's next door, which is an industrial. And if you can advance, you can see the R3 across the street, as Ms. Clardy had mentioned. There you go. You can stay right there. So you can see that whole area of zoning I-1. One of the comments that was presented in this meeting for the Planning Commission is the cohesiveness of the I-1. And so by rezoning this R3, even though the house that is to the west is a residential non-conforming use, it is still the underlying zoning is I-1. So rezoning to R3 would break up that I-1. That was one of the comments that was in the report. You can see the other development around there, and as Mr. Glover pointed out, and which was also highlighted in the meeting, the Planning Commission meeting, was that there's single-family development around there, mostly, predominantly the development around there. There are duplexes in the area, and those are just particular housing types. They're not substantially more, I guess, impactful than a single family. And then, Kate, if you can back up, maybe one slide, is it? There you go. Whenever Planning Commission reviews, and staff, whenever we review any type of rezoning, even though the proposal is for not as much as can be had on that property, the gross development density is 40.66 lots. And we have to use that as a metric for at least understanding what the possible density is. There's certainly going to be other things that restrict it, and it's typically related to cost of the development. For this property, there's the flood hazard, and there's also, I think there's also a floodway on there. But even under FEMA regulations, you can develop in floodways or floodplains. You know, there's nothing that restricts it. It's just, it's usually cost prohibitive. But as far as what we analyze, it's always for the highest use for the property. Okay, and then if you can go forward, I'll let you know what's up. Okay, right there. You can see as far back as 1992, there hasn't been substantial development in the area. It's always been these particular lots on the Patterson subdivision has been undeveloped since 1949 when they were created. So there's no vesting of any types of rights, including access for onto West Jackson. And then I think if you go another forward, okay. The other item that was pointed out within the report was the substandard roadway width. And a lot of things, since rezoning applications, we don't look at conditions that are imposed on a development. we always have to, imagine the highest use for it. And some of these items can be mitigated for in a subdivision application, but that's not the basis for a rezone. And so in this case, the unfavorable, and maybe Councilman Blevins or Mayor Carroll, you can help me out on the reason, the number one reason for the unfavorable had to do with just the neighborhood development pattern, since it had consistently stayed the same, and it was also predominantly single family. Certainly Tyson's did file their opposition letter, and Mr. Glover pointed out his opposition to it as well.
But you did say there were duplexes in the area.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I only know that the majority, Kate, if you can back up.
Where they're located.
Oh, actually, can you go forward, to the aerial photographs for it? There you go. So most of the houses that you see that's pointed in a single family are R3, but they are single family lots. I think the subdivision, I didn't go out and look for the the duplexes, because I believe the duplex are further to the east.
They're the west.
Up on the Shelbyville Mill School up there.
To the west.
It's called the
The
Cedars.
old Shelbyville Mill School, was that right?
It's called the Cedars.
Oh, the
I mean,
Cedars.
Yeah,
it's,
okay.
there's several duplexes. I have a friend on Cedars.
So, but, they're not, they're, the only, single-family house is directly adjacent to this one is right next door to the west, and that is a non-conforming single family.
Which way, yeah.
What was the planning commission vote, remember?
Was it
Was it 5-1?
5? Yeah, I think it was 5.
No, that's not right, because we had
Oh,
7.
Oh, did we have?
We had 7
With
there.
7 there.
Oh, 6-1.
6-1. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one now.
What was the number? What was the big deal? Because I know where this area is, we ride by it on a golf cart all the time, and pretty well. But it's really kind of isolated, there's not much around it that you're gonna impact. There's one house that you own with the little white house by itself, and then across the street is still all grown up where was actually the old ball field, is that not right?
Used to be an old ball field right
The
there.
old Babe Ruth ball field was over there, so.
Well, the Johnsons own across the street also, which is already a subdivision now. They just have it, the roads are there and supposedly the infrastructure's there. But they haven't built any houses on it.
Is it R2 development?
It's all grown up.
It's R3?
Yes, sir.
Why doesn't Tyson want it, Tom?
Tyson, pretty much highlighted a lot of the similar thing, that they did not want to, have residential development. I suspect that, and don't quote me on this, but I suspect that, it would be complaints that were lodged against their, facility because of the activity that they do. The other thing too is that, and Tyson highlighted very much the same things that I, in my report, came up with the same conclusion. As far as describing what the neighborhood
Well,
is.
did you feel like it would be all right, the reason they submitted this to start with? They consulted with you, didn't they?
And I get that a lot of people like to blame me.
No,
No, I'm just saying, I wasn't blamed for this, but I will add that, I will add that it's rezoning, I can tell you that sometimes rezonings go in a way that I'm surprised by. In this particular one, I think actually I thought it was gonna be single families. That's what I thought. They were gonna be single family development in there, but it wasn't until I got the concept that.
To me, the biggest risk is the fact of possible flooding, but the owners are accepting that
Yeah,
risk.
still-
It's not, if they were apartments, it would be, or privately owned, it'd be different, but they're gonna own they're taking all the risk themselves, and it's an open field,
But also, I'd like to also point out that if I build 12 or 13 single-family houses, Tyson's will have 12 or 13 owners to deal with. If I build 7 or 8 duplexes, I'm gonna own them and retain them. So I'm not gonna call them and complain because they stink, because their trucks run me off the road. It's gonna be somebody else.
If there's a flood, it's your risk, it's not the individual
Yeah,
selling.
and just to highlight that, you know, for myself and for the planning commission, we don't look at whether or not something is going to be owned today, because we have to look at what, we have to take the extreme view, always the conservative view. And not that they wouldn't complain about Tyson's, you know, because you could smell them here.
Tom, you think if they resubmitted it and went to R2 instead of 3, it might make it?
But then they're not duplexes, they can't get the.
Well, I mean, I'm just, they want to pass it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What's Mr. Callahan, the Callahan property he's talking about? What is he gonna do with it?
Nothing, just use it for
yeah, that's a single family.
there's not a house on it. He's using it for a camping area just to have. access to the
Oh,
river.
that one, yeah. So, Mr. Callahan came.
Right next to the
in-
river down there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he came in probably a couple of years ago.
I didn't remember that from our planning commission, that Callahan property. Now, this total property is gonna be, how much is it gonna be 14 acres, or is it gonna be less than that?
No, it's like 10.6. They had it wrong whenever they,
Okay, all right, okay.
and I don't know if it was before the actual survey was done.
It might have been dark.
And you're gonna move the dirt from down next to the river up to elevate the property on West Jackson where you're gonna build these duplexes?
Only on the road fronts, like 200 feet off the road, along the road.
Okay.
The backside is in the floodway, which technically I thought you couldn't build in, but Tom just told me something, you know.
Yeah, well, the reason why nobody ever does it,
Some kind of hydraulic studies.
yes, you have to do a H&H study, which hydraulic.
That's not our plan. Our plan is to only build 7 or 8 duplexes along the road, which is the highest elevation now.
Right,
It falls off going to the river.
yeah.
So our plan was to use a borrow pit from the backside,
Right.
out of the floodway,
Right.
move the dirt up and build 7 or 8 duplexes along the road. Then we're gonna front West Jackson. And I can assure you, they will be a lot nicer than any house within a mile of there.
So that's the reason the industrial, it hadn't been developed. I mean, it's been industrial all these years, it's probably because of that.
I don't have anything that goes back before 1989. And I can only surmise that because, I mean, it's obvious that when this was subdivided in 1949, it was probably thought of as a residential subdivision. And then sometime along the way, because I know that Shelbyville Power, they really should have had their water treatment plant there. That,
Right.
Back then, that would have been the optimum location. But, you know, there was a push for having Tyson's there, so.
Okay. And then didn't we talk about the Shelbyville Mills or the Uniroyal plant down there, or where National Pen was? That property just sold a month or two ago.
I don't remember when it closed, but yes, it sold as an industrial.
Do we know yet what's going in there? I'm talking about traffic now. I'm talking about traffic on those roads. What are they gonna put down there? Do you know?
And if you can advance, a little bit, more, right there. Yeah, so you can see it off into the southwest corner there, that's National Pen.
Right.
What I understand, it's gonna be converted back to an industrial. They are, what I've heard, is that because of the tariffs, they're bringing back some of their operations to that location again. So.
Can I point out something to traffic? I mean, as far as I'm seeing, if I was to sell this to another business and they build a 10,000, 20,000 square foot building and employ 60, 70, 80, 300 people, what if they're as big as Tyson's and they want 1,000 people there? That's that much more traffic that'll be on West Jackson. I don't think it can handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as an industrial, this property is not good for industrial. I mean, right now, the road, if somebody was to build a facility there, it couldn't maintain another 40 or 50 semis going in and out of there.
Yeah,
So-
no matter what, it would have to be improved. West Jackson would have to be.
Didn't we talk about in the planning meeting, last week before? The developers improving the infrastructure like that, if that road ain't suitable?
Yeah, there's a requirement, yes, that, under our subdivision regulations, anything that's fronting on there needs to be improved. So you're talking about,
Right in front of their property, fix the road.
Yeah, I've already got that. Yeah, we've already had that with the city, with
Well,
the,
if I point out, that's only in front of their road. That's not the entire road.
yeah. The
Ms.
city
Carter, you
had-
can stand up if you want to.
What I was
Wait,
just gonna
here,
say
yeah.
to point out what Bobby had said
Yeah.
was, we've already had with the city engineer.
Yeah.
We've already met with them in the planning and they told us with the sewer crossings, because they didn't want to end up like Coney Island.
Right.
Because I'm sure y'all had complaints of it.
Right.
So they told me that we'd probably have to grind an overlay in front of where we would do the development, if we had to cross the road with the sewers.
Okay.
So-
yeah, so that conversation, so the lot combination just combined all the lots. The development part of it would be the next step.
Okay.
And yes, the next step would require a lot more improvements no matter what, because of the impact of.
And approval from the planning commission and then into the council?
Yes, it would be a major subdivision application.
Okay. So all we're talking about here is just zoning,
Yes, yes,
just zoning. Okay.
yes, to R3 to allow for duplex.
Okay. Any further questions from anybody?
Got a question for Tom. You calculated that there's 40.66 lots for duplexes there on 14 acres.
Based on 14 acres.
14 acres.
Yes.
The fallacy is it's only like 10 acres, isn't it? So we're
So-
not gonna have that many.
So if it was 10 point some acres.
29 something.
So it'll be 29 duplexes, which will be 58 individual, which will be 58 times 2 vehicles.
That's if you covered every piece of.
If
the
you,
property.
if you covered,
We know
yes,
we
the
can't-
gross.
Can't do it.
Yes, because I usually, like when they're not covered by, environmental, I usually knock off 30% for infrastructure and it usually balances it out too.
Okay, so, and it doesn't include rezoning the house sitting out by itself, is that what?
The house would be rezoned as well, but you can have in a single family, or you can have single family or duplex in a R3.
I thought I heard you say that left little slip.
Oh, that one that's off to the,
I-1.
it's still I-1, yes.
It'll be hanging out there I-1 by itself.
Yes, and that one, has been, that house was built in 1985. So it's been there for a while and it's a non-conforming residential in an industrial zone district.
So would that make taking the new numbers back to the planning commission rather than us totally turning it down for further study, help their application process without having to put in a new application and the expense of that? Is there a way to, another alternative, is there a way to split some property so that the part down by the river takes out those calculations so that you get back down to the 8 that he's talking about building rather than having 20 some odd in the floodplain?
Sure. Well, typically, there is no, it's not illegal.
I'll give you a chance.
Yeah, it's not illegal in our subdivision regulation or our zoning ordinance to split zone. It's just not desired policy because of what ends up happening with split zones.
I think we made that a written policy.
Yeah.
Not allow that.
Yeah, it's just, typically, we try to clean
Gotta
up the split
bifurcate.
zones.
Mr. Clardy had something to say to you.
Yeah, I
You
was
good?
just also gonna say, you know,
You can stand up if you need to.
well, it was recommended to me that I take those parcels that was already subdivided out in 49 and bring it back to 1. I've never done this before. I'm just going off their recommendations. So that's why I had Northcutt surveyed all back in.
Right.
If it's something that you all would want for me to just survey out just where the duplexes are gonna be, and then me present that, I'm fine with that. It's another expense, you know, for us, but I don't mind to do that. If the concern is building the duplex on Olive, which is not gonna happen anyways, but.
And it was required, no matter what, it was required to be combined because the lots, you didn't have to if you're not gonna develop on there. But because it's a I-1 zone, those lots did not meet the I-1 zone district for frontage. And some of them were not even meeting the lot area, so they were non-complying. So within our zoning ordinance and our subregs, no matter what, whenever there's a opportunity to clean up some of these non-complying or non-conforming lots, then that's the purpose. Now, certainly, there's many different ways that you could possibly do these options. And it's just a matter of whether time was more of their concern. So, you know, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I'm trying to remain neutral in that sense, so.
So you're talking about subdividing the lot into two. So you could just rezone the front and leave the back industrial. Is I think what you're getting at.
And you would need to,
Skin that cat.
Yeah.
That would protect the city and protect people in the future, instead of having where they talked about a while ago, down by the river off of,
and then that part in the rear would need to meet all the requirements for I-1. And currently it's at there's a 75-foot easement, so that would have to be increased to 100. So it would still have to meet the requirements for the I-1 zone, if that's the case, so.
anyone?
But I will add to, just so that there's no illusions, it's a multi-step process. Because it's right now, zone I-1 would have to be subdivided, and then, and the front, no matter what, it's a multi-step process.
It's kind of, to me, it's almost going back to where it was originally, like, I had the tracks. I originally come in to get a permit or to build on one, and then I found out, hey, you can't, you know, so then we said, hey, let's collect them all back to this one and present it as all as R3. I was just doing what I thought was the steps that I should have been doing.
Can you go back to?
I mean, I retained
the 1949.
an engineer. I mean, like they said, hey, get somebody to help you draw it up, develop it for us, so.
Yeah, no matter what, something would have had to be done, because if you look at, there you go. These lots were not.
We build it all.
Thank you.
Not very well.
Yeah. The only thing is Councilmember Feldhouse had mentioned, do we toss it back to planning? Or we have to, move forward next week?
That's really up to
Was that
the,
answered?
I think that's really up to the applicant.
Yeah.
Councilman Feldhouse has brought some potential options where he could bifurcate his property or subdivide the property and ask for just the front portion of it to be rezoned.
Right.
So that's just a suggestion. That is completely within their authority. They make up that decision, whether they want that to. You all could, also on your own, decide to send it back and have them just relook at it if you want to.
That's what I do. I make a motion to defer it, send it back to planning and find something that, we never, in 4 years, we've never talked this much about the zoning.
Actually, it's 14 acres and it's only 10.
It needs to be.
So I mean, did planning vote on the 14 acre number? Or was it the 10?
Yeah, that's changed, so that.
They're not even gonna use half that. They're not gonna go back to the flood part. They're just gonna build out on the road.
Right.
Well,
And
I
after
just
the
have to-
Callahan property was bought out, I think it dropped it
So
to
we
10.
vote in like it is, and they can build their 4 duplexes or 7.
Well, I just always have to add, y'all remember that once you rezone something, they can do whatever they want to in it.
That's right.
They're not obligated, what they
That's right.
said here tonight, to
That's right.
tell you what they're gonna do.
We run
I
into that.
always have to say that, just have to say that.
So
have to
instead
say
of-
that.
Instead of 8, it could be 20.
They can do, whatever is allowed under our zoning law, they can do.
That's why we ask you to support us locally, constituents and lifelong residents of this town. And we hope we trap our 5 children into staying here and take care of these problems.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there's 2 options here. The applicants can voluntarily withdraw, regroup, and then go back to planning commission, or the city council can have it on the agenda next week and
Defer.
vote to send it back to planning commission.
Oh, we have to, we can't do that. I can't.
Can't do it.
Not tonight, no.
Okay.
And
Or we could vote it through next.
Yeah.
Thursday.
the applicants don't have to make a decision tonight either. This
Yeah.
will be on it can be on the agenda, and then we can remove it if y'all have decided to do something
I mean,
different.
we're under y'all's guidance. We don't do this every day, so it's like, I've just been trying to work with Tom and do what I'm asked to do, that's it. And I feel like I've done that from day one.
Appreciate that attitude. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, folks, Let's move on to the next item. Resolutions, we have none. Business items, we have no business items. Purchasing and bid items. Welcome to Shelbyville Signs.
Yes. All right.
Yay.
Fast. Okay, you all were asked to vote on, this was led as an RFP. We had 3 vendors respond with multiple renderings, which totaled 11. I sent all those to you all for voting. I masked vendor names and dollar amounts. We just wanted your vote. And with an RFP, once we choose a design, you can negotiate within the realms of an RFP, and this was lit as an RFP. So the top 2 signs received 10 votes. These are the top 2. This one, number 2, and number 3. Both received 10 votes. Receiving 6 votes was number 4 and number 5. And then receiving 5 votes was number 6. Just informational tonight. What we're going to do is, I didn't have a chance after with the votes, coming in yesterday and today. I didn't have a chance to write it up, but what I'll do between now and next Thursday, I'll do it this week, I promise. I'm going to send these out to you with the cost and the variations. A couple of these, like this one, will have a variation of stone product, like stone and block, or what was it called, fabricated?
Yeah, it's fabricated.
It looks like rock, but it's not.
Yeah.
So that's going to be I'll list the choices, I'll list the prices. Your budget was 80,000.
80,000, yeah.
So I'll list all that out. I'll list room for you guys to make comments if you need to make comments next Thursday night.
Miss
Then
Lloyd,
talk
will they
about
go
these
back
other-
in the same spot that the old rotten ones is falling down?
No, some may, but no. We have a little bit better areas that, we can get more access to maintain them a little bit better. So there'll be a couple that are probably in the same spot, a couple that aren't.
Any other question? Thank you, Laura. Okay, Board of Zoning Appeals is the next item, and I have reached out to a couple of people. I got an answer from one of them today that they thought that they probably could not. I haven't gotten an answer from the other one. If you've got anybody, please let me know, and I'll reach out to them personally if I need to, like I did on these, and we'll see about filling those seats. Of course, those seats are not empty. Those folks are still serving until we get someone to take their place. Other business, do we have any other business tonight?
Can I say something?
You sure can.
I've been in the utility business for 47 years before I supposedly retired. And I worked it upriver just like Randy. Anybody that lives in the city, that's anybody served by shovel, power, water, and sewer, next time you see one of them, thank them. You thank them. Because Jason and them do a fantastic job. They spend a ton of money on tree trimming. If you've watched TV you've seen that poor old lady that's the manager of NES. They wearing her out. She's not, it's the tree trimming is a vital part.
It is.
Of electricity.
Yeah.
And Jason and them, they've upgraded their lines, they've upgraded their reclosers and everything else. I talked to him and he told me they had, during that whole spell, they had 4 people out. And the 4 were out because they had one customer who had a service line damage and they had to take a transformer out of service, which put the other 4 in the dark for a short time. And that's it. So next time you see somebody from Shelbyville Power Water Sewer, thank them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank them, because we got a fine electric system. We do.
Mayor, I want to say too, I did a posting on those 3 guys back there on the wall.
Yeah.
One of them, were on the post. And I do commend all of them for doing what they did. I know that the officers were patrolling and You're just A1 and Buck, A1 to all of your crews and that type of thing. So great job, and we are fortunate for the city of Shelbyville to have you guys. And I want to say that, Mr. Chapman back here, director, I saw this little, pop-up snow thing that we had, when was it, yesterday? I saw where you quickly got those gates closed and cleaned up and that kind of thing, so.
Yeah.
So thank you. Mhm.
Sure do appreciate
Yeah.
everything you guys do. You went up on a daily basis, but especially during that storm. Thank you, Bob, for those comments on Shelbyville Fire, Water, and Sewer. Any other business, folks? If not, I'll ask Lisa to read the announcements, please.
Yes, sir. City Hall will be closed on Monday, February 16th, in observation of President's Day, and Monday's trash will be picked up on Tuesday, February 17th, with Tuesday's regular route. And I handed this out. I think everybody got a copy of it in their emails also.
Right.
But Rhonda Clanton is retiring, and they are having a reception for her on February 26th at First Baptist Church, and the hours are from 1 to 4, and she's done a great job, had an amazing career, so everybody go by and thank her for that. That's all I've got.
We have Drew Reed from that office tonight with us. We appreciate you being here, Drew. Anyone else have anything to say?
Adjourn.
I'd appreciate a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.